And we're back. Did you miss me? Of course you did. My name's Dusty Thompson, if you didn't know, and we're reading my book, Almost Odis, by Dusty Thompson, subtitled My Preppy Life with My Redneck Dad. For those of you who are following along, we're going to jump in on page 15. For those of you who haven't bought your copy, go on over to Amazon and get your copy. I think the Kindle one's on sale for like $4 or something. It's a great bargain. All right, here we go, page 15. In 1986, the summer between my sophomore and junior years, we moved to Tylertown, Mississippi. I graduated high school and started college, drifting further and further from the dad. Our relationship, admittedly weak, wasn't buoyed by his obvious, to me, favoritism of my siblings over me. In Tylertown, I seemed to have found my place. I had plenty of friends and had as much fun as you can in a town with one red light and no Walmart. Even here, there were a couple of times where I was called gay and threatened physically. Outside of those instances, self-esteem was tied more to anticipated rather than actual ostracism. I graduated and started attending the local junior college as I was far too scared to attend any college with a population larger than Walthall County, of which Tylertown was the county seat. Walthall County boasted a population of only 17,000 people in the entire county, at least in 1988. I thought things might be different in college, and I was actually very popular and well liked, having been elected freshman class vice president and class favorite. It's the South and we love our superlatives. But it only takes one person to try and make you unhappy. It's easy to say, don't let them get you down, or they are just unhappy, or they are projecting. I would like to believe it, but it's not necessarily true. Do I think the guy calling me a faggot is himself gay and projecting? No, I don't. We graduated to different language then, as our vocabularies in high school and college are much more sophisticated. He's being mean because it's what he's been taught. Hatred is learned. Was this verbal abuse constant? No, but it didn't soften the blows when it happened. Did the dad still call me names? No, but it's hard for a kid to forget the bad stuff. You can get used to a certain level of self-hatred where it's almost impossible to recognize, much less address. Don't get me wrong, I knew my mother loved me and I had to believe that deep down the dad did. It's a rule when you're a parent. You have to love your kids. Of course, I figured you don't necessarily have to like them. By my sophomore year in college, I had pushed myself to be anything and everything I could. At the time, I was student body president, co-editor of the yearbook, and had been elected campus favorite. I should have felt on top of the world, but I didn't because there were several guys on the football team who called me faggot and queer for reasons known only to them. It was not lost on me there was a pattern developing. It became such an issue I moved out of the dorm and back home during my final semester. I don't remember what excuse I gave my parents. Expecting a teenager to perform psychotherapy is ridiculous at best and dangerous at worst. However, as an adult, I realized the dad just doesn't know how to show affection other than through buying people things. The summer after my freshman year in college, he and my mother saved up and bought me a brand new car. I had wrecked my first car driving to Vacation Bible School commencement at my church. I feel the need to establish a Jesus-adjacent context. I really was all about Jesus. My previous car was a 73 Mustang II. You know, the one that looks like a Pinto? But it's not a Pinto. Page Smith Mills. This car was a Nissan Sentra, and I thought it was the most awesome gift in the history of gift giving. Growing up in various stages of lower and middle class, the dad had gotten a job offshore and we were doing pretty well. I had always exaggerated our wealth as I was embarrassed to be poor. I know people saw right through me, but I was naive enough to believe they believed me. And I was so proud of that car, I felt I was finally just like everybody else. The lies were becoming true, at least some of them. One of the things my family does not discuss is my stint as a basketball cheerleader in college. I understand it was not something they considered manly, but they were more than the opposite of proud I chose to do this. By this time I realized I was not the son they had necessarily wanted and felt lucky my brother had showed up 4 years after me with superb athletic skills and I could just go and be my weird self. Being that person has its costs. After a basketball tournament, I was about to leave campus when I had stopped by the dorms to get an assignment from one of my friends as I had moved home. By the time I got back to my car, someone had carved the word fag in the hood with a broken beer bottle. First of all, who would do something like that? Second of all, how could I let my parents see it? I had to take the rest of the bottle and assist this bully in destroying the nicest thing I had ever owned. It remains one of the most difficult things I have ever had to do. Since we could barely afford the car, I had no insurance or money for a new paint job. I had to drive the car for another 2 years with the constant reminder there was apparently something wrong with me. Something so bad it drove others to vandalism. And we'll stop there. Heady stuff, but next time I think it'll be more fun. And we'll see you next week. Please subscribe before you go. Thanks.